Welcome to Research Talk. In this video, we will continue our conversation on trustworthiness in qualitative research. And in this video, I'm going to talk about Audit Trail, which is a very important method used to ensure high level of trustworthiness. So what happens in Audit Trail? Audit Trail refers to that as a researcher, you maintain, you document the overall process of the research that you are conducting. You maintain records that show that all the decisions you are making in your research process, all the interpretation, all the data collection, data analysis, all those decisions. So you have a trail, you have a record of all those things. And what happens when you submit your study for publication in a journal, the reviewer can really see all those documented trail to determine if your research follows the required rigor and validity or not. So that's what audit trail is. As the word itself suggests, audit trail. So you have a documented record of all the decisions, all the processes that you are following in your study. How does it look like in practice? Let's see, overall through the research process. So let's say you start your study. So the first thing you do is your research design, right? Your research design. So what research design is suitable for your study? So that's what sort of a discussion for you. So you keep a record of it. So you can write a reflection that sort of suggests why you make a decision about following a particular research design. Now let's think about a very important process, which is data collection. Now in data collection, obviously you have to make decisions about sampling. You have to make decisions about overall recruitment and what kind of data that you are collecting. So in sampling, what you do, you decide who is going to be interviewed, how you're going to recruit your research participants. So all those decisions you are making here at this stage. In terms of audit trail, at sampling level, you are giving a consent form to all your participants. So the consent form, and then institutional review board, IRB, or the research committee that approves for you if you are doing research with human beings. So IRB approval is another sort of audit trail. IRB approval, consent form, these are, or maybe let's say if you are emailing your emailing or distributing your research, participation request, research participation request. So these are sort of audit trail that suggests that what steps you are taking, what decisions you are making in this whole process of data collection. So that will be part of your data audit trail. Let's talk about data analysis. But before I jump there, let me come back to data collection. And another method of having an audit trail during data collection is your reflection notes or researcher's diary. We call it a reflection note. And you may also have field notes. So your field notes is also part of the audit trail. Your reflection about overall your experience about this process, your researcher's diary, is also part of your audit trail. Now, In field notes, if you remember what we do, we record our observations in our field notes, and that's also kind of a data. So that also is important part of audit trail. Now let's go to the next stage of research, which is data analysis. Now in data analysis, audit trail would be is your how you are analyzing the data. So let's say if I'm doing a coding process, if I'm coding the data, so records of coding process, that will also be part of the audit trail. And memoing is another important part of audit trail. Remember what we do in memoing? In memoing, we write our reflections, insights about the data that we are analyzing. So maybe some insights about emerging themes, categories, that will be part of my memo writing. So memo writing or memoing is another important part of audit trail, that, and obviously your records of coding. Oftentimes when we submit our research article to a journal, it's important to add a supplemental file along with your manuscript, a supplemental file that include records of your coding and records of your memoing. You can also add your researcher reflection and field notes to support that overall understanding for the reviewers who are looking at your research. So from data analysis perspective, records of coding and memoing a very important document as part of your audit trail. So, and then after you are done with your data analysis, when you write your manuscript, that's also sort of a process in a way, particularly when you write your finding sections. So in finding section, you are obviously writing your themes that are emerging, and to support those themes, you are using some excerpts. So, and the finding section is written in an iterative process. So as you keep doing your data analysis, you keep writing it. So it's a sort of a first draft, second draft, third draft. So that could also be part of your audit trail. So let's come back to what we are discussing here. Audit trail is about having a record of a documented record of all the decisions, all the activities that we are engaged as a qualitative researcher. And the process is to ensure that when an outside reviewers look at our work, they can understand the process of what processes we are following, the rigor we are following, and that leads to high level of trustworthiness. So it is very important that as a qualitative researcher, I maintain all the records, that I am documented record of all the decisions, all the activities that I'm engaged in, so that later on, if somebody wants to look at it, we can provide them. Generally, reviewers don't ask for it, but if they ask for it, we should have it ready and we should provide those records. And most important records in terms of audit trail obviously is your consent form, your IRB approval, your distribution of your emails that you are sending for research request, your reflections, your researcher diary, your field notes, your memoing, and most importantly, which I think is very important, is the records of your coding. So when I start my initial coding of my interview transcript, I can have a record like, okay, these are my initial codes and this is how I coded the data. These are my second cycle of coding or focused coding or axial coding. And so you interpret and explain how you came up with the categories or a theory or a theme, So overall, there is a record to show this process, and that's very, very important when we are doing qualitative research. So audit trail is a very important aspect to ensure high level of trustworthiness in qualitative research. So that's briefly about audit trail. I'll see you again in another video with another method of ensuring high level of trustworthiness in qualitative research. Till then, have a good rest of the day and see you soon.